I'm in Ukraine since January. I love the country. It's very similar to Italy. Great people, same family values, and unfortunately, the same type of politics. So we have a lot in common, both the good and the bad. And I have to say I'm discovering that we also have the weather in common, because it's warmer than I expected outside, and definitely warmer than I expected inside. So I'm going to ask you a question. Does anyone know, first of all, does anyone know where Danone has two parts, the product and the science. Yeah. So does anyone know where the product was born? No? No idea. France? Switzerland? Germany? France? Okay. Danone was inspired by a Spanish born in Barcelona, and he was inspired by a Bulgarian yogurt producer producing in Switzerland. That's where the product was born. Does anyone know where the science was born? Germany? No? No one? Probably a few people. The science was born in Kharkiv. So the Russians say it was born in Russia, but the Ukrainians, hardly any Ukrainian knows this very important fact. Part of the roots of Danone is in this country. So I'll give you a little bit more details. So the European businessman was Isaac Corazzo, or Caruso in Spanish. He was, it's a very interesting history. It was a Jewish family that moved throughout Europe for obvious reasons. And the mother was ill, so they left Spain to cure her in Switzerland. And then they came back to Spain, and in Switzerland they met this Bulgarian chef who was selling yogurts in Switzerland. And he says, why don't I try this in Spain? But the genius of Isaac was that he just didn't sell yogurts. Yeah? He took science and he said, I want to sell a product that can really change the lives of people. And at the same time, there was this gentleman from Ukraine who was working in the Pasteur Institute. So he was an assistant director of the Pasteur Institute, so a very high position. He even won the Nobel Prize in 1908 for his work on immunology. And it's also interesting that even in Kharkiv, no one knows he existed. So it's something that Danone Ukraine would like to change. And also within Danone, Danone Ukraine would like to remind the rest of the Danone countries that they have their business thanks to us. We talk about bifidus or acti regularis. There are 50, 60 studies behind that. When we talk about acti now, we know exactly what it does to you, how it works, and why it works. Now many people in the blogs and in the media, they discuss, is it true, isn't it true, I don't believe it. But as a company, we act almost like a pharmaceutical. In fact, we are pharma food. We know that what we sell works, and what works we will sell. We're in 145 companies, we have almost 100,000 employees, and there's 15 million euros in sales. You also will know that Danone has just bought another business, which is baby food, called Numico, or locally it's called Nutrition. So the company continues to grow. 10 years ago, we decided to come back to where the science of Danone was born, Ukraine. Start with a very small office of 17 people. I visited the office in 2000. So 17 people in a house in Kiev. And then it expanded to 162 people in 2004. We bought a factory in Ukraine, and today we have 800 full-time people. But we have even more if we count part-time. We have more than 1,000 employees. We're also very, very proud that in 2006, 2007, 2008, Danone Ukraine was the fastest growing Danone business in the world. Many trophies for the team that are proudly displayed in the office. So we're going to talk a little bit about Danone, what it means to work with Danone, what are our values, and I'll try to explain a little bit the unicity of Danone, what's unique. Every company will say they're unique. I will explain to you what's unique about us, and then I'd like to hear from you any questions. So our 4 main values are openness, enthusiasm, humanism, and proximity. I think those words speak for themselves. The big difference in Danone is openness is really practiced. It is very, very normal in the cafeteria. For example, when I worked at the headquarters, you're sitting at the cafeteria and the CEO would sit down with you, introduce himself, and say, so you know what do you do, how do you work, etc. Really a lot of proximity. In Danone Ukraine, I can say that everyone in the headquarters has had dinner in my house, the whole team, at least once. We really work together. With the factory, all the directors have been to the factory at least once a month, and all the directors have presented to our factory people, so people on the workshop, exactly what's happening in the company every month. Why we're doing what we're doing. So, and when things go bad, we tell our employees, listen, we made this mistake. When things go well, we say they've done well, but it can go even better, of course. Yeah, you can always do better. Enthusiasm speaks for itself. If you cannot, it's very important when you choose a job, just like when you choose a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a wife, that you want to be there. If you choose something that you don't want, then your life will be torture. And the same thing with a company. The company is like a person, and Danone wants to attract people like Danone. We want people that are as enthusiastic as we are about the things we do. And we'll talk about the things we do later, but enthusiasm is key. Humanism, I'll talk about a little bit more, but Danone, as you can tell from its history and the fact that it's family and has a family touch, it's a very human company. We sometimes do things that don't necessarily help our business for the good of society. Because, as Frank Ribou says, in the end, we're not only working for our stockholders, but we're also working for our children, the people of tomorrow, who will have to live with what we created today. So let's create something good.